Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to the show. I've had requests for so long to try and get the Black Album guitar tones using the Boss Katana MkII. And I guess it's just such an ambitious tone. There's just so much going on with that one in the studio, and I don't really think that any one guitar amp can just get that monstrosity of a tone. And it's just a combination of so many elements, this guitar tone. And for everyone in the comments that says, yeah, it's the G1275 speakers and you got to slave a Marshall into a boogie and all these sorts of things, look, you're all probably right, because I think this guitar tone is just laid with so many different elements. I know that Bob Rock, when he did it, they just had so many microphones and speakers laid out. They had takes just capturing the bass tones, and then they had takes just capturing like that really aggressive chunk on the top to make a really edgy sound, and they just put it all together. So there's no one guitar tone that actually, like a god guitar tone, that can capture the Black Album. But the Boss Katana does a really great job in just capturing that essence of the whole album. I'm not trying to capture it so you can do perfect A&B recordings and stack and layer harmonies and things, because usually when you do that, the guitars themselves are very thin on their own. But for this, I just thought we'll just do it so that the majority of people out there that have a Boss Katana can just download these presets and dial in what I think is a really close Black Album tone for all those guitar tones on the album. So just the gear that I'm using today, just for anyone interested to get this exact tone that I'm getting in the room. I'm using my Lamb guitar. This is an ESP Eclipse inspired guitar that I had made about 10 years ago. I did a run of them, sold a few, and the project just got a little bit too hard and I was too busy to continue. But it's equipped with the EMG 8185 pickups. It's got an ebony fingerboard, mahogany body and rock maple neck, and I think that's the cornerstone of just getting a really solid James Hetfield-esque guitar tone. The strings that are on it are 10 to 52 Ernie Ball Slinkies. I just really like the heavier strings, especially for the chunks on this. But anyway, this is going straight into the Boss Katana, where I've just got the presets, no pedals or no effects being used apart from just what's going through the Boss Katana head there. And that's going out through the 2-notes Torpedo Captor X, which is simulating my Marshall 1936V cabinet right there, and that has Celestion vintage speakers in it. And there's also a preset I've made for a rhythm tone, and I just tweaked the preset just to sound like a big heavy Black Album tone straight out of the speakers in the room when I cranked it right up. So that preset is a little bit over the top, and I wouldn't suggest to record with it or anything, but it just gives you that whole room vibe when you're using your amp, and you don't really have to crank it so hard just to get that whole massive Black Album tone. But this is the main rhythm tone that I use for the whole Black Album. Each song is slightly different, but this one seems to cover them all, and it's a fairly dark tone. It's not too swept. It's got the right amount of sort of crunch on the top, but here it is. And that's a cool crunchy guitar tone. There's a little bit of reverb on top just to give you that room ambience. So for building the tone on the Katana, you can see via the screenshots there, just for anyone that's got the Mark I or other variants that can't download the presets, you can see that I'm using the clean channel and using that metalcore distortion pedal in the front end. And that really gives you that sort of that liquidy, squishy crunch that James had on that album. And that's going through the front end, which I've got that EQ going in the front end there. And that's just scooping out those frequencies around the 250 Hertz mark, which just seems to balance these tones. And I boost them around the 500, 1K mark as well. It just sounds better to my ears. It's almost something that I sort of set as a default when I make these tones. It's just something I worked out with the Katana that it balances out the tone going in. And then there's another graphic EQ on the output there. And you can see that's really just setting the frequencies right that I want to hear. It's boosting a little bit of the bass, scooping some of those mids, and just adding that slight little bit of treble where I want without it sounding too much on the top. And I've also got the parametric EQ running in the output section there in the chain. And that's really just working with the graphic EQ in the output just to really boost and cut certain frequencies just to really fine tune the tone. I've found that works really well, and you can do that with the Katana software. It really is good. So that's the main rhythm tone explained. I've also added the clean tone for the Unforgiven, just for Kirk's part, as well as that clean guitar solo. as well as the main guitar solo for Unforgiven. And all these tones are just so over the top with so much ambience, but that's how Bob Rock had them on the record. They really were over the top with so much extra coming down with layers of reverb and delays and huge tones. It was just so cool. But I'll just play a bit of the Unforgiven now and just incorporate all those tones, and you'll just hear how they blend together and they really make the record sound, I guess. And that's so fun. That is cool. The whole guitar solo there, I just found that it comes through beautifully on the Katana. And all I really do there to make a guitar solo tone on top of a rhythm tone, you don't want to change the guitar solo tone too much, because then it just sounds alien when it comes in, like it's a totally different tone. So all I tend to do is, where I've usually got a sweep around the 1K mark, I'll just boost around the 800 Hertz. And if I boost that and just add, I don't know, 6 or 7, 8 dB to that, you can really just create a really nice mid-focus tone, but you're retaining a lot of the main other guitar tone that went along with it. So you're boosting the right amount, and I might just bring the frequencies in on the outside, take a little bit more treble away, and I'll always add a little bit more bass for guitar solos. And it just seems to carry, it retains enough of that original guitar tone from the rhythm, so when it kicks in, it just doesn't sound too left field that it doesn't match the whole tone. But really fun tone, super over the top. There's so much ambience. I don't think I've ever wound up the reverb so high on the Katana for any other guitar tone. And the last guitar tone I've got, it was actually really difficult to try and make, and I don't think it's as good as Kirk's Unforgiven clean guitar tone, but it's the intro to Enter Sandman. And I don't think it worked out so well, because I was trying to incorporate the steel strings mixed with the clean tones, the huge ambience, and a little bit of that vibe was lost, but it's close enough that you can see. But I'll just play away at some riffs and just see what you think. Anyway, there you have it, guys. That's my take on Metallica's awesome Black Album using the Boss Katana Mark II. I think it's just so easy and fun having all those tones just at the click of a switch, and you can just cycle through them and just play along. I'd gig with this any day. But anyway, till next time, guys, take care. Bye for now.